Morning light spills over the blackened skeletal frame of the barn, turning the rising smoke into silver threads that dance in the air. Inside the farmhouse, I kneel beside Rhett's bed, pressing a damp cloth to his fevered brow. For 3 long days, he's been lost in a silent world of pain. His breath shallow, his body still. Just when I start to fear the worst, his eyes flutter open. They're clouded with memory, with a pain that goes deeper than his wounds. He whispers, his voice a dry rasp. I remember everything my father tried to hide. I lean closer, my heart thudding against my ribs. Then tell me, Rhett, tell me. He swallows, a painful effort. The ambush that killed Eli. It wasn't an accident, Clara. It was an order. The words hang in the still air, heavy and poisonous. My father. He struck a deal with the Sioux. He traded army intelligence for stolen gold. Eli found out. He was going to expose him, tried to stop him. That's why he never came home. The room tilts. I grip the edge of the bed, my knuckles white. Are you saying your father, Captain Carson, had him murdered? Rhett's jaw tightens, a muscle flexing in his cheek. Yes. And if the army ever learns the truth, the Carson name will burn with it. My world, already shattered, breaks into even smaller pieces. Rhett pushes himself up on one elbow, his face pale and strained. He reaches inside his worn jacket and pulls out a blood-stained envelope. I took this from my father's desk, he says, his voice low and urgent. Right before I deserted. It's the proof. The signed order for the raid. I've kept it hidden all this time. He hands it to me. My hands tremble as I take the crumpled paper. It feels heavy, like a tombstone. I carefully unfold it. The ink is faded, the paper soft from being carried for so long. But one line glares back at me, a cruel brand on my soul. Elijah Bell, to be silenced for insubordination. A sob escapes my lips, a raw, guttural sound. My heart shatters all over again. All this time, I mourned him as a hero who fell in battle. Now I have to mourn him again, for being betrayed by a man he trusted. Tears fall onto the page, blurring the words that sealed his fate. All this time, I whisper, my voice choked. Rhett reaches for my hand, his grip surprisingly strong. He was a hero, Clara, he says, his eyes burning with a fierce light. And I swear to you, I will make sure the world knows it. That evening, I stand on the porch, watching dark clouds gather on the horizon. They roll in from the plains, heavy and bruised, carrying the scent of rain and a feeling of impending danger. The wind whips strands of hair across my face. We can leave, I say quietly, not looking at him. We could ride north, to Oregon maybe, start over where no one knows our names. At the head of the procession rides a figure, tall and imposing, even from a distance. Captain Mason Carson. He and his armed men descend into our valley. He dismounts, his voice booming over the storm, a voice used to commanding and being obeyed. Rhett, come out! I will offer you mercy. For the last time. The farmhouse door opens. Rhett steps out into the downpour, his rifle slung across his back, the letter clutched tight in his fist. He looks like a ghost from his father's past, returned for vengeance. No more mercy, Rhett calls back, his voice cutting through the wind and rain. Only truth. The soldiers raise their rifles in unison. My heart leaps into my throat, but Mason raises a hand. Hold your fire. He studies his son, his face unreadable. The same eyes, the same stubborn defiance. You think you can undo what was done? He sneers. Rhett holds up the letter. The paper already soaked, but its meaning clear. The world will know you traded men's lives for gold. Mason laughs, a cold, empty sound. No one will believe a deserter and a fallen widow. That's my cue. I step forward from the shadows of the porch, trembling but unafraid. The rain soaks my dress in seconds. They'll believe me, I say, my voice ringing with a strength I didn't know I had. Because I carry his grandchild, the blood you tried to erase. A murmur ripples through the line of soldiers. Even the thunder seems to pause. Holding its breath, Captain Carson's face drains of all color. For a long, tense moment, no one moves. The rain is the only sound. Then, Rhett slowly lowers his rifle. You taught me to fight for my name, he says, his voice raw with a mix of anger and sorrow. Now I'm fighting to cleanse it. I watch Captain Carson's face. His jaw works. A storm of rage, pride, and shame warring in his eyes. Finally, he makes a decision. He draws his revolver, but he doesn't point it at Rhett. He points it toward the black, churning sky, and fires once. The shot is a signal, a surrender. Take them home, he orders his men, his voice hoarse and broken. Leave the letter. The soldiers, looking confused and relieved, mount up and ride away, their torches vanishing back over the ridge. As they disappear, Mason turns back to his son. Rain streaks down his weathered face, mixing with what might be tears. I didn't mean for Eli to die, he says quietly, the confession torn from him. But once blood is spilled, there's no washing it clean. Rhett's eyes, which had been so hard, soften with a sadness that seems deeper than anger. Then maybe, he says, forgiveness starts where justice ends. The captain gives a single, sharp nod. He mounts his horse, and without another word, vanishes into the storm that had brought him. The torrential rain slows to a gentle drizzle, washing the world clean. The air smells of wet earth and new beginnings. I step out from the porch and stand beside Rhett, resting my head on his shoulder. We watch the last of the storm clouds drift away. It's over, I whisper, the words a prayer of relief. He shakes his head gently. Not yet. There's a whole town that needs to hear Eli's name cleared. They need to know he wasn't a coward. I owe him that much. I look up at him and manage a faint smile. Then we'll tell his story together. Rhett looks down at me, his gaze dropping to the curve of my belly, barely visible beneath my wet apron. The lantern light from the doorway casts a warm glow around us. That child, he says, his voice thick with emotion, will grow up knowing the truth. His father died brave, and his mother lived brave. A soft wind brushes across the fields, carrying with it a sense of peace, of redemption. For the first time in what feels like a lifetime, Rhett Carson, the deserter, the wanderer, looks at peace. But far on the ridge, hidden in the receding mist, a shadow lingers, a lone figure watching us through the gloom, holding a rifle that has not yet been lowered. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. If you are captivated by this story of justice and redemption, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss what happens next. Your support means the world. Until next time, stay brave.